6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. Processing of 10,360 applications seeking financial assistance complete. Government intends to provide a block of land for each household legitimately. The Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment signed an MOU with the Department of Registration of Persons to prevent illegal migration of people for overseas employment. Nurecholi Power Plant to operate at full capacity from next week. Trade Minister says the Sathosa's frequent price slashes are not for personal gains. SLBC crackdown on another human trafficking scheme. In news overseas, G7 tells Taliban to reverse reckless and dangerous ban on female aid workers. And in sports news, Pele's demise leaves football fans heartbroken. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the local news. The Secretary to the President's Fund, W.A. Sarath Kumara, says processing of 10,360 applications had been completed out of 11,000 applications seeking financial assistance, and handling of the remaining applications will be implemented expeditiously. Most of the payments are already done. Close upon 1,500 million rupees has been paid for medical assistance during the year. The President has advised to expedite the process next year and to advise to settle the needy patients' applications on priority basis. A team of medical consultants has been appointed to obtain recommendations regarding the grants provided over the surgical operations and medical treatments. The Secretary further stated that the grant amount would be increased immediately after the expert committee recommendations. Minister Douglas Devananda says the government intends to provide a block of land for each household legitimately. The politicians representing the North and the East have acted on their own agenda despite the needs of the public interest in the past. This has worsened the situation. The President has instructed to solve the issues immediately. People from the North and East would be provided with lands in due course by the government. Secretary of the Ministry of Public Administration issued a circular announcing an advance cash payment of maximum of 4,000 rupees to all government employees between the 1st January to the 28th of February 2023, which will be recovered by the end of the year. The Sri Lanka Bureau for Foreign Employment recently signed an MOU with the Department of Registration of Persons to prevent illegal migration of people for overseas employment. This exercise will also prevent using wrong data or information for overseas travel. Under the MOU, the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment has been given permission to access the computer system of the Department of Registration of Persons to prevent people going abroad using forged passports and identity cards prepared by changing personal data such as the name, age and address. Until now, there was no way for the Bureau of Foreign Employment to immediately check suspicious IDs and passports. Normally, the Bureau writes to the Registration of Persons Department and verifies the correct information. Under the Memorandum of Understanding, the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau is allowed to use the computer data system of the Department of Registration of Persons. Accordingly, it will be possible to check the information of any suspicious persons immediately. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. A new vessel with a cooling system has been invented. The cooling system is expected to minimize the post-harvest loss caused to the fish harvest. A media briefing was held today to make the public aware of this invention at the Department of Government Information. Joining the media briefing, State Minister P.L. Nishanta said that this will provide the opportunity to supply quality fish products to the public. Minister of Trade, Commerce and Food Security, Nalin Fernando, has commented on the frequent reduction of prices by Lanka Sathosa observed recently. Minister Fernando assured that the frequent reduction of prices of certain staple commodities was not imposed for any personal benefits of sorts, adding that there lies the potential for the prices of several goods to reduce vastly by next year. Explaining the reasons behind the weekly reductions, the minister stated that pricing is decided upon based on the stocks received by Sathosa. The Sri Lanka Bureau for Foreign Employment has recently received information about yet another human trafficking ring involving a foreign employment scam to Jordan. Following an investigation conducted by the SLBC officials at the airport on Sri Lankans travelling with tourist visas, those travelling to Jordan had stated that they intend on making a short visit to Jordan. However, it was later revealed by the Sri Lankan embassy in Jordan that several tourists who arrived in Jordan from nearly 10 countries, including Sri Lanka, by illegal means now remain stranded in the Arab nation. Thus, the embassy notified the SLBC to warn Sri Lankan nationals to remain vigilant and refrain from falling prey to such fraudulent schemes orchestrated by traffickers. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The main news story for tonight, the Ceylon Electricity Board has said that the generator at the Nuraichole power plant that was shut down for maintenance will be added to the national grid on the 6th or the 7th of January 2023. General Manager of the CEB Engineering Section, Rohan Seneviratne, said that the coal shipment is scheduled to reach Sri Lanka next week, and thereafter the Nuraichole power plant will operate at full capacity. He said that thereafter the need of using fuel power plants for electricity generation will be considered. One generator at the Nuraichole coal power plant was shut down on the 22nd of December, citing early maintenance and resulting in a loss of 300 megawatts to the national power grid. The Ministry of Power and Energy said that a shipment of 90,000 metric tons of crude oil will reach Sri Lanka next week, enabling the continuous operation at the Samugaskanda oil refinery. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year with CIB, with special gifts, discounts and easy payment schemes available till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
In Watch Life tonight, no power cuts scheduled for this weekend. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has approved power cuts of 2 hours and 20 minutes for 2nd of January 2023. Accordingly, the power cuts will be imposed for groups A to L and P to W, with a power savings of 1 hour during the daytime and 1 hour and 20 minutes at night. Meanwhile, the power supply will not be interrupted on 31st of December 2022 and 1st of January 2023. And that came to you in Watch Light.
Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year with CIB, with special gifts, discounts and easy payment schemes available till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. Sea rescue charities rebel against Italian anti-immigration regulations. G7 tells Taliban to reverse the reckless and dangerous ban on female aid workers. Spain imposes new COVID restrictions on arrivals from China. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the world news. Sea rescue charities are rebelling against tough new anti-immigration measures imposed by the Italian government, arguing that they could result in thousands of deaths. Ship captains risk fines of 50,000 euros and having their vessels impounded if they break the rules, which include a requirement to request a port and a sail to it immediately after undertaking one rescue instead of remaining at sea to rescue people from other boats in difficulty. Major world powers have called on the Taliban to urgently reverse a reckless and dangerous decision to ban women from working for aid agencies and charities. In a joint statement, foreign ministers from 12 countries as well as an EU representative warned the ban on women working in non-governmental organizations would have an inevitable impact on UN aid programs because many of these multi-million-dollar relief efforts were delivered and designed by the NGOs. The Spanish government has announced new COVID-19 regulations for passengers arriving at the country's airports from China, following an explosion of cases there and becoming the latest in a growing list of countries to impose specific rules on visitors from the Asian country. Spanish Health Minister said travelers from China will be required to test for negative COVID-19 or prove that they have been fully vaccinated against the disease. And that was the world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News.
The United Nations Humanitarian Needs and Priorities Appeal today reached a total of $101.5 in billion. Residing coordinator of the United Nations in Sri Lanka office, Hana Singhamdi, stated. Accordingly, the funds will be used to provide humanitarian assistance to 3.4 million Sri Lanka's most vulnerable persons, she assured. Taking to Twitter, Hamdi expressed her gratitude towards the generous contributions made in this regard, deeming the collection as a milestone. That was the development news, and now let's move on to sports news. In athletics, in a year marred by cancellation of multiple international events due to COVID-19 pandemic, sprinter Yupun Abekod's 9.96 seconds dash in the 100 meters in Switzerland stood out as Sri Lanka's most outstanding track and field performance as of year, as South Asia witnessed its first sub-10 seconds performer in the sport's most glamorous discipline. In the men's category, the Italian-based sprinter was top-ranked Sri Lankan in the track and field sports in the centenary year, and the two next athletes in the list, namely long jumper Danushka Sundarwan and high jumper Yushan Thivankar, too thrived overseas. And still on sports news, Pelé, the Brazilian football legend who won 3 World Cups and became the sport's first global icon, has died at the age of 82. Pelé was admitted to hospital in Sao Paulo in late November for a respiratory infection and for complications related to colon cancer. Last week, the hospital said his health worsened and his cancer has progressed. He died yesterday from multiple organ failure due to the progression of colon cancer, according to a statement from the Albert Einstein Hospital. For more than 60 years, the name Pelé has been synonymous with football. He played in 4 World Cups and is the only player in history to win 3 in years 1958, 1962 and 1970. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Let us turn this difficult time that we are facing now to a positive opportunity. We must rise up as a nation in 2023. NSB will extend its fullest support for you to rise with confidence. NSB, the safest place for you.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka's Ceylon Tea Trails and upmarket boutique hotel brand said it has been placed in the US and UK's gold list of NAS Traveller and international travel publication. Sri Lanka's Tea Trails said it is the first Sri Lankan hotel to enter the list. The gold list is chosen few of the best hotels in the world, authentic classics that have crafted their reputation over many years. Malik Fernando, managing director, which operates Ceylon Tea Trails, said in a statement. Ceylon Tea Trails operates upmarket hotels in 5-restored historic tea planter residency called bungalows in Sri Lanka's hill country, 1,250 meters above the sea level. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank.
Let us turn this difficult time that we are facing now to a positive opportunity. We must rise up as a nation in 2023. NSB will extend its fullest support for you to rise with confidence. NSB, the safest place for you.
And in economic news, Chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, Chalaka Gajabahu, said that Sri Lanka's tourism has achieved 300% growth compared to last year in terms of tourist arrivals, with the expected figure to reach over 700,000 arrivals by the end of the year. All airlines operating to the island have increased their frequencies, whilst several airlines from Europe, including Aeroflot, Air France and Edelweiss, along with the cruise lines, have commenced operations in recent months. Sri Lanka is therefore now more than ever open and are welcoming visitors from across the globe. That is economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
Mainly fair weather will prevail over the island, and misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabaragamu, Uva and western provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts during the morning hours. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the International Weather Forecast website, AccuWeather.com, reports that the day's weather was cloudy. Today's daytime temperature was observed to be around 28 degrees Celsius, and tonight's temperature will be around 27 degrees Celsius, and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be 27 degrees Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index is 31. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. However, sensitive groups may experience minor to moderate symptoms from long-term exposure. And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. Processing of 10,360 applications seeking financial assistance is complete. The government intends to provide a block of land for each household legitimately. The Sri Lanka Bureau for Foreign Employment signed an MOU with the Department of Registration of Persons to prevent illegal migration of people for overseas employment. Directly power plant to operate at full capacity from next week. Trade Minister says that Southhouse's frequent price slashes are not for personal gains. SLBC cracks down on yet another human trafficking scheme. In news overseas, G7 tells Taliban to reverse the reckless and dangerous ban on female aid workers. And in sports news, Pele's demise leaves the football fans heartbroken. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news.